Hello and welcome back to the new series of Taxi Talk. I'm David Hunter and this is
Jodie.
Coming up on this episode, we have an exclusive interview with Steve Wright from the LPTHA.
Taxi Talk. Taxi Talk.
Right, Jodie, Steve's waiting over there.
Off you go.
Well, now you're coming with me. Come on,
Okay,
let's go.
then.
Steve Wright MBE. So,
David.
And
Hi,
you met
Steve.
Jodie.
Hi, Jodie.
Hello, hi.
No, Jodie.
It's an absolute privilege for you to be here, Steve.
Well, thanks very much for inviting us, David.
You are an absolute legend in our world.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
I'm sure you don't need much introduction to some of our audience, but those that don't, Steve Wright has campaigned, well, probably man and boy now, is it, Steve?
Yes, since the 70s.
Since the 70s for our industry, for fighting against councils, licensing departments, well, you name it, you've put your head on the block, probably your house on the block in some instances.
Once or twice.
Once and twice. And I imagine not for much profit, it's more for the fairness of the industry, isn't it?
Yeah, it was never for money. And the association's always struggled financially. Mm-hmm. We're still paying off a court case we were in 10 years ago. So
Wow.
It definitely wasn't for money.
Wow.
But it was to help people.
And you're not a large team either. It's
No, it was
probably,
the family. Sadly, I had to make my kids redundant during the pandemic. Very difficult. Mm-hmm. But Louise is now back with us. And we've got very good people that can help. As you saw when I was ill last year, The team just stepped up and did a great job. So
Excellent.
We've got a great team of people, which I'm very grateful to.
Yeah, and it's great that you've made a recovery and you're back here today. So it's great. Fighting again. You've got that oomph back in your belly, and I'm sure we're going to cover some of those subjects today. Yes,
started with a couple of articles in a few magazines to get the old tongue wagging.
Yeah, they certainly did. I saw that article in Pro Drive magazine, wasn't it, about Wolverhampton. Do you just briefly want to talk us through that?
Yes, I wanted to set the record straight on Wolverhampton and out-of-area licensing because everybody maligns it, but it's actually essential. I was talking to a driver that had been waiting a year to be licensed in London, and it's taken over a year to get new driver's licensing. Without Wolverhampton, the business would have failed, drivers would have been out of work, and they do it very well. It needed somebody to stand up and say that, so I thought, why not me?
Yeah, no, they do it. I mean, we've been using Wolverhampton, Take Me In before that ADT for the best part of 10 years. And yeah, a lot of it's online, it's efficient. We record this in Loughborough. There's a council office literally across the street from there, and they have licensing officers from Wolverhampton there. So they police it very well as well. The only problem for us now, it feels like we're printing badges for Uber drivers. So we try and find obscure councils now to work with where Uber aren't operating.
Yeah, Wolverhampton are very good and they're very strict. The biggest malignment they get is it's easy to license there. It's not. Mm-hmm. So I needed to set the record straight and I did that, hopefully.
Yeah, because there's a lot of misinformation in the marketplace, like the licenses come from cornflake packets and things like that. We've seen it all, but you certainly put the industry straight on that. Now, I noticed on my notes here, and you're not one to flaunt this, but every time your name is written down here, Steve Wright MBE. What year was that MBE?
Well, that was 1999 after I successfully got London licensed. Mm-hmm. Way back in the 70s, I was astonished when I came in as a driver, found it wasn't regulated in London, and it was prevented from regulation for 25 years by the hackney industry. Mm-hmm. So I had a bit of luck. I met Susie Lemplu's mum, Diana Lemplu, and she sort of press ganged me into helping her. Between us, we got it licensed. Defied gravity and actually got it licensed and got it on the statute. So I was very surprised to get the MBE, but really delighted to meet the King when he was Prince Charles.
Oh wow, what was he like in person?
Interesting. I can't reveal what he said privately, but he was very interesting person and very well briefed. He understood the industry and he understood London as well.
So he actually knew the industry.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he knew the good, the bad and the ugly.
He's probably staggered out a few taxis in his time.
Yeah, I'm sure he has.
When he was a young man. Now, earlier we caught up with the team. Let's see what they had to say.
Phil's viral videos. What's hot today? Watch it, break it down, why it spreads that way. Phil's viral videos.
Great, thanks guys for that. Yes, welcome to another episode of Viral Videos. We've been looking all around the internet to find you some of the best videos that are going viral right now so that you don't have to do quite as much searching. Well, this first one that I want to show you, well, it's an interesting one because everybody's talking about driverless taxi vehicles at the moment. But what happens when the police get involved? Take a look at this.
What do we do in this situation?
Hi, this is Karen with Waymo. Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's keeps stopping up and on and off. I've been following it for about, let me see, 5-7 months. So it's stopping in the middle of the road.
So what happens then when the police do stop you? I don't know. Anyway, this next video's a funny one. Now, not every taxi driver around the UK has to do a full knowledge, but we know that most taxi drivers know their area better than most of the local residents. Take a look at this video.
Hey buddy, can you direct me to Tiananmen Square?
Tiananmen Square, yeah, no problem. Straight down the lights, take a left. Go straight past Greg's, then take a right. Go straight down to the little mini roundabout.
Okay.
Go across there,
Yep.
take the second on the left. Across the River Elbe, through Vilnius, straight across the Carpathian Mountains. Drop a left over the Volga. I'd avoid the Moscow one-way system.
Okay, okay.
When you get to the Caspian Sea, things get a little bit tricky.
Okay.
You've got to follow the coastal road round the corner. Along the Russian steppe, you've got Afghanistan on your right, avoid, obviously. Go right across the plateau of Mongolia, sling a right down the Great Wall of China, follow signs to Beijing. Once you're in Beijing, it's a straight road, third turning on your right, and you're there, you can't miss it, Tiananmen Square.
Oh no, not Tiananmen Square, Beijing. Tiananmen Square, the Chinese restaurant.
Oh, that's right across the road then.
What am I like? Cheers.
So how well do you know your local area? Anyway, this final video shows you how a driver interacting with customers can make all the difference. Let's take a look.
I can get you there in 28 minutes.
Oh my god, you can get us in 28 minutes?
28 minutes.
Could you do 27? I reckon.
You know what? In this car, it's very
In this
possible.
Mazda?
Yeah.
I am excited. You've got Mentos.
Yeah, there is a door handle.
Shut up.
Help yourself.
You've got Mentos?
Of course I do.
You're a little slag. I like that. That's not.
So that's this episode's 3 viral videos. We'll take a look around the internet and we'll see you next time. Back over to the studio.
Briefly, talk us through the journey from going from driver to a national icon campaigner and association leader.
Well, I was a qualified engineer and all my mates were earning more money doing minicabbing in London. So I decided to be a minicab driver. My father
What was your
did
first car? Do you remember?
Cortina. Mark
Had to be
II.
a Cortina.
Mark II Cortina. My
Right.
father disowned me when I told him that I was going to become a minicab driver. But within a year I had my own business and he sort of slowly took me
What
back.
was his expectations then? For you?
Oh, he felt all the night school and all the qualifications as an engineer.
Oh,
that
yeah, engineer.
Minicabbing wouldn't be for me. But over the years, he slowly mellowed and he actually became a grading officer for us, which helped us to spread the word. Indeed, you joined a few years ago,
Yeah,
David.
I think I met your father a few years
Yes,
ago.
he came up and graded you 5-star at the time. Very
Wow,
good.
the brown envelope work then. But no, he did. Yeah, because we were one of the. You were just expanding outside of London because the industry saw you very much as a London-centric. But bit by bit, you kind of. We got over that.
We were being asked by people outside London to say, help us, we've got terrible trouble outside London, why only do London? So now we've got members in Inverness, we've got them on the south coast and right throughout the country. In fact, a third of our membership is outside of London now. And it's likely to expand because we've got most of the good operators in London as members.
And I've seen you work tirelessly. I mean, we issued a few years ago in your neck of the woods with Wolverhampton.
Yes.
You got in your car and went and dealt with that. I've seen you driving up to Scotland. I've seen you driving up to Leicester, who will be with us shortly, up in the Yorkshire area, North Yorkshire. You're literally everywhere. Is there more than one Steve? You can't be doing all this on your own.
I should be cloned. I've been told that a few times. And one or two wags when I was ill last year said, what are we going to do without you? We need to get a successor. I said, if you find one, let me know. I'll train them.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, who would be? I don't think there is a natural successor, although I've got Lisa lined up.
Well, to be fair,
Steve's a mentor. You could maybe start training Lisa.
We've got some good people in North Yorkshire here.
And they're bold speaking. They're to the
very
point.
Brutal and to the point.
Yeah,
just how we like her.
They are brutal, but never getting a round of drinks with them. A, you won't beat them. B, they'll never pay for a round.
They also like a good night out, which is something I can relate to.
Proper Yorkshire. I think we're all Yorkshire at heart, aren't we? Really?
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. So, so I'm going back all these years. What has been the largest campaign you've won, and how?
Well, I think it has to be the licensing of London, because we were fighting against the hackney industry that didn't want us licensed. We were fighting against a lot of misinformation and the establishment. And to get it actually licensed was a miracle, and it's worked out very well. We also fought off having all the councils in London doing it. The National Private Hire at the time wanted all the councils, which would have been a nightmare. It just replicated what happens outside London. We stuck and we said we want one authority. And, you know, there are good things and bad things about having one authority, but at least you've just got one point to deal with, so you can battle with one rather than 36.
Set of rules.
That worked very well. So that was the biggest success. A couple of other things. We got congestion charge exemption for the industry for about 20 years, but that's gone now. We also got the use of parking and dropping off on red routes, access to places we couldn't get to. We got the English language test to be fit for purpose, because they were making people born and bred in England do a test, charging them 300 quid for the privilege. But we went to see Sadiq Khan and we changed his mind. And those are things that I think have really helped the industry.
Yeah, and the problem is they're soon forgotten and taken for granted, and people... That's your life's work, that people just think, well, it's always been like that, and it hasn't. And
there's a lot of things that have happened. People say, what have you done? Probably I could write a book, but I sometimes struggle to think, well, what have I done, you know? But I think when I was ill last year, the people that came to the roadshow and put on great messages, oh, thanks, he did this, he did that, the other, it was really humbling.
Yeah.
And from my hospital bed, it was very rewarding.
Yeah, no,
which is nice.
You had such a great pouring of love. I saw it all over LinkedIn, obviously at the show, because it was right before the show. And Mark stepped in very well and helped you, covered some of what you're comparing and things. He did a great job there. So,
yes.
It was a real sense of people rallying around, doing it for you. Because
it was very, very humbling, but everybody stepped up. I can't thank everybody enough. And Mark, I was able to do my briefing notes from the hospital bed, and he kept to the script most of the time, which was pretty good for Mark.
No, he did a grand job. Right, we're now going off to take a break from this. We'll be back with you shortly, Steve, just to get some of the latest driver opinions, and from Ash, who's out there talking to drivers.
Ashley Street Corner, talking to drivers to see what they think on Ashley Street Corner.
Hi guys, it's Ashley here, and I'm down here at Leicester train station, which is extremely busy. I'm just going to go and see, we're going to have a look round, see what's here, go and have a chat to some of the hackney drivers, taxi drivers, just to see what their feeling is about Leicester and the industry and how we're making it better. Hello guys, welcome to Ashley and welcome to Thomas Cook, who started the first package holiday ever all those years ago. And do you know where it was from? It was from here in Leicester to just down the road, about 15 miles away, to Loughborough. What a position to be in on the first package holiday. And he's got his case, his brolly and his laptop, just in case. Hi guys, and welcome to the fantastic city of Leicestershire. Here we go. And did you know that they found a king underneath a car park just at the back of the road? Got a big cheesy grin, guys, down here at the station. Bit of a fun fact really. Red Leicester, say cheese, has been produced here since the 1700s. So again, say cheese guys, try it. What's your favourite cheese? I know what mine is, and I know what to go with it. Let us know what your favourite cheese is and what's your add-on to it as well. Hello there and welcome to Leicester train station. I'm here with the Major and he's a taxi driver here on the rank, and I'm just going to ask him a few questions about where the best place is and where would you go to and where do you take customers to around Leicester?
Mostly people who visiting Leicester, they goes to Leicester Cathedral or mostly Space Centre.
Yeah.
That's the most places, no, not any other places mostly people ask.
Do you find Leicester's very, I know it's very multicultural and there's so much to do, but it's getting better and bigger? Do you find that?
Yeah, it is getting better and bigger and more safer as well.
More
So
safer?
I'm driving a taxi for last 30 years.
Yes.
So it is safer for
people to come to, yes.
yeah.
And I know that they're all redeveloping the station, aren't they, to make it...
whole station and the Bath Lane, every whole area
Yes.
redeveloping,
Yeah, and it will really bring Leicester onto the map. So obviously we've had the king that we've discovered from being buried for all those years.
When people visiting Leicester, we do ask them where they want to go.
Yes.
Sometimes people come from America, Australia, they go to visit to the cathedrals.
And do you find you give them a good service? Because you sound like a well-known, well-educated young man.
I don't know how much I'm educated. Yeah, driving a taxi last 30 years.
Well, you obviously know your area well. And one final thing, Major. What's your thoughts on the fuel prices and the prices?
Fuel prices affecting everybody, even taxi drivers.
Yes.
It's like gone up more than 30%. It's affecting us.
It is ridiculous. Yes, yes.
So if we ask a council fair rise, it's not fair for us, but then it will be affecting customers. We're losing the customer.
Yes,
so because biggest competition with Uber, so like it's very hard for us if we ask the pay rise.
No, that's right. What a fantastic
Thank you very much.
knowledge of Leicester and what's happening with the fuel prices. Major, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Take care. Hi guys. Thank you very much for following us on this one. It's been really, really interesting seeing how the station is up and coming and how it is now, and chatting to the drivers and getting their feedback on what they think, the things to look for in Leicestershire and what to go for and what their opinions are as well. So please follow us, like and subscribe.
Some really interesting questions there from drivers and observations. So thank you, Ash, for that. Well, I'm going to leave you guys now because we're going to bring in Lisa. We've mentioned her earlier. She's the Taxi Talk licensing guru.
Yeah,
Well, she's our trainee. So she's delighted to come and talk to you. And so I'm going to leave you. I'll catch you.
Thanks, David.
Just after this podcast. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Jodie and our Lisa, who's coming in now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Lisa. Good to see you again.
And you.
So we'll kick off some of the questions then.
I think so.
So Steve, you entered the private hire industry in London in the early 1970s as a driver.
Yep.
What was the industry like back then, especially considering there were no licensing requirements at the time?
Well, it was the Wild West. There were no regulations and everybody did what they wanted. And clearly there were some very unsavoury characters in it back in the day.
Yeah, lots of cash involved, so I would imagine.
Yes, it was one of the few industries that you could still earn a bit of cash in. And of course, those that were looking for opportunities to launder money and do worse things were in it. Yeah. So it needed regulating.
And then within a year you became an operator. So what made you want to change from driving to running the company?
Well, it's the old, I think I can do it better than him scenario. People gave me 6 weeks, but we lasted 20 years before I sold the company. So
wow.
25 years, I think I was an operator.
You didn't do too badly then.
No, we started with 100 quid each and 2 cars, and we sold it with 110. So we got there.
So most of the UK introduced licensing in 1976, but London was excluded. Why was London so slow to regulate the private hire?
Well, it was the hackney trade. Interestingly, they felt if we were licensed, we'd grow, when actually they made the mistake of not licensing us, and we did grow. It was talked out in Parliament about 4 times until myself and Diana Lamplugh, Susie Lamplugh's mum, got involved. And at that point, we started to get the momentum, and knock back the arguments for licensing, you know, why it must be licensed, safety. At one stage it was thought that Susie Lamplugh had got abducted by an illegal tout, and that's what got her into it, Diana Lamplugh. And between us, we got the job done, thank goodness.
You've just mentioned your involvement with Diana Lamplugh and Susie Lamplugh Trust, so that was a major moment in the industry's history. How did that help to push for regulation in London?
Well, when Susie Lamplugh went missing in broad daylight, it was national press, it was all over the media. There was only ever one photo issued of her. If you've ever seen the Susie Lamplugh photo, you'll only ever see the one photograph of her. And she did go missing, and she was, we know, murdered by John Gannon, who sadly passed away in prison for another murder, and the police lost all the evidence. But at one stage it was thought she was touted, and touting was rife when there was no regulation. It really was the Wild West. So it was that catalyst that got Diana involved, and I was already campaigning, so she got hold of me at a meeting, put my hand up to volunteer to help her, and that was it. We managed to get the job done.
Wow. So you helped form the licensed private hire car association with 10 founding operators. What were the biggest obstacles in getting London licensed?
Well, the problem is industry apathy, and it's still out there now. Trying to get the industry to work together has always been a challenge. And but we had 10 bright minds that were good companies, and there was the naysayers saying, you never get us licensed, you know. But the point is, the 10, what we did was got a magazine, we sent out faxes, posts and what have you.
Faxes.
And that was the best way to communicate, far better than email. Emails never get answered these days, but the old fax machine, the old bit of paper coming out of the fax machine. So we did all the marketing you could do back in the day, and we sort of hit a chord with people, and the 10 ones that were in were good operators that wanted licensing, and it just grew, and within 2 years we had a magazine and we had 250 members, all in London. That's dwindled down because of acquisitions, but by numbers there's a lot more drivers connected to our membership, and we got there. We got there by putting the trade together and listening to them.
Thanks, Steve, that's been great. Now over to this.
Superhero on the move. Drivers know he's got the groove. No one dares to cross the line. Catman's watching all the time.
It's another day, and the worked busy mother has booked a ride. The driver isn't helpful and does not want to help the poor mother with her shopping.
And looking back, what do you think were the key factors that persuaded the government to introduce licensing in London?
Me nagging them and Diana Lamplugh. We really did give them a hard time. We went to Parliament, we lobbied MPs, we had meetings with ministers, and we really did give them some grief if they weren't listening to us. In fairness, Steve Norris, who was the London minister, he said, well, we're not really pro-regulation in the Conservative Party. Perhaps you should do a grading system. Well, we did a grading system, and that helped us get credibility, the star rating system. And slowly but surely, people were saying, why aren't we members?
Is that what you mentioned earlier when David's dad?
Yes, with...
Your dad, sorry, with David.
My father actually came up to grade David. He was one of our first out of London members. that sort of said, we love what you're doing in London, can you come and do it here? We set standards that in the absence of regulation you couldn't have. So what we did was we actually prepared the industry in London for regulation, and that's why it went so well. That's why it happened in London.
So you was awarded an MBE for services to transport in London. What did that recognition mean to you and the actual private hire industry?
Well, it was a shock, and it was a recognition for the industry. It was a recognition for the people that supported the association. Those 10 founded members were instrumental in having the foresight to say we can do this. Everybody else had failed miserably, but the 10 people backing me, very important that you have your peers on board. You're never going to please everybody, which I said in an article recently, but the bright minds will realise what you're doing and they'll give you support. And we got that support. So it meant a lot to me for those people that backed me at the beginning. I'm still in touch with many of them now.
Oh, that's lovely.
And why do you think it is that it's so important that operators are represented by bodies like your own?
Well, there are many trade bodies out there, but often they represent drivers or they represent operators and drivers. Nobody specifically represented the operator's point of view. Now, we help our members' drivers, of course, but we never pretended to be a driver's trade body, because it's a bit like being in the Conservative and the Labour Party. There are differences between the driver's interests at times and the operator's interests. And if you put 5 drivers in a room, they're never going to agree on the same things as operators are going to agree with. So we decided to go for operators, and it proved to be a very good tactic because the operators resonated with that. We always took on board the driver's point of view, but predominantly we've always represented operators. I still get more drivers than operators ring me, but I say, are you with one of our members? If you go to our member, tell them what the problem is and we'll help you indirectly. But we wanted to distinguish, make it quite clear we're here for private hire operators.
So the private hire sector, it does often seem quite fragmented. So how important do you feel it is for collaboration between operators and technology providers and networks like TakeMe?
Yes, it's very, very important, and I'm glad to see that people are talking together and talking about APIs into each other's software, because we all know who the big bad wolf is, the app companies, and you're only going to really match them up if you put your tech together. Simple as that. So the collaboration is essential.
And what's the biggest campaigns that the association is working on at the moment?
Well, we're working on trying to get medicals to be easier to do, because a lot of the delays in licensing, point of failure is bad medicals, doctors filling in forms properly, all sorts of things like that. We're trying to make it easier to become licensed. If Wolverhampton can do it quickly and efficiently and strongly, so everybody else should. We'd also like to see a little bit of clout, whether it's by an ombudsman or somebody else, on councils to make sure that they have the same service levels and standards that we all have to work as businesses. You know, if they're not answering your emails or not returning your calls or not opening or not getting your license, they need to be accountable. We're going to work to make sure that happens in the future.
But do you feel that, on that note, do you feel that the UK as a whole should have a more national licensing standard?
Absolutely. We've campaigned forever for national standards. And we went to see the Minister of Transport and the House of Lords earlier this month to specifically say you need to drop the word minimum from standards. Nothing should be minimum. It sends out the wrong message. And we already have minimum standards outside London with the 76 Act, where everybody can have a standard and then go above it or below it, or we don't want that world anymore. We want good national standards.
Okay, we're going to take a break now. Thanks, Steve.
Licensing news, here's what's new. Taxi updates just for you.
Hi, I'm Lisa and I'm here with this month's licensing catch-up. Last month we briefly touched on a few topics, so let's just go a little bit more in depth on taxi licensing crackdown. Who's really in control? So if you're driving right now, let me ask you something. Who actually runs your job? Is it the council that gave you your badge, or the one whose roads you're actually working on? Because at the moment, it's a bit like having a gym membership in one city and turning up to train in another. No one's quite sure who's meant to stop you. But let's be honest, for years drivers have played it smart. You get licensed where it's quicker, cheaper, less of a headache. and then you go where the work is. That's not cheating, that's just common sense. If one council takes 12 weeks, 3 inspections on your firstborn child, and the other says, see you Monday, you already know where the drivers are going. Now, enter the problem. Places like Wolverhampton, as we all know, have become licensing hubs. Massive numbers of drivers, most of them not even living there. And councils in other cities are basically saying, well, hang on, we've got all these drivers on our streets, but we've got zero control over them. We don't know where they are, we don't know what they're doing, and we can't do anything about it. And you can see why they're not thrilled. So now, things are changing, and not slowly either. New enforcement powers are coming in, meaning councils could soon stop out of area drivers working locally, pull you over and check you properly, and take action without needing your licensing council involved. The translation? That little loophole that everyone's been comfortably driving through, it's starting to close. Now imagine this, you're out on a shift, everything's normal, you've got jobs coming in, and then suddenly you're getting stopped more, asked more questions, maybe even told that you shouldn't be working in that area. Same car, same driver, same job, different rules. This is where it gets interesting, because some drivers are thinking, finally, about time something was done about this. But others are thinking, oh, here we go, another thing making it harder to earn. Haven't we got enough? Fuel's up, insurance is wild. The job doesn't need any more obstacles. Half the time the app's playing games with pricing and routing, as we all know, and now licensing is joining the party. But here's the deeper issue. This isn't really about paperwork, it's about control. For years, drivers have had a bit of freedom. You could move smart, work different areas, adapt. Now, the system's slowly pulling that back. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most drivers don't think about licensing until it actually affects them. So let me put it straight to you. If tomorrow your main working area said, you can't operate here unless you're licensed here, what's your move? Do you pay more? Do you wait longer? Or do you lose access to the work that you rely on? Because this is where it's heading. Not overnight, but definitely in that direction. And here's the hard truth. The industry is tightening up, not to make your life easier, but to make it easier to control. And if you're not paying attention, you won't see that change coming until you're the one packed up, wondering why the jobs have dried up. So that's me for this month. We'll head on back to the studio. Thanks, guys. Which leads us on to the next question, actually. Many operators complain about inconsistent rules between councils. Do you think that licensing authorities should be held more accountable than we currently do?
Yes, that's why I'd like to see an ombudsman. I'd like to also see them have service levels. They should be delivering things. They should be responding to people. Definitely, one of the things that our new projects is to work on them being accountable to us. We're paying their wages. It's time that they worked for us, not the other way around.
Absolutely. So this has become a major debate. Why is maintaining out of area licensing important for operators?
Well, it's quite simple. You should have a choice. If you're in the many other industries, wherever you're licensed, if you're a bus driver, you get your bus driver's license. You can work anywhere. You can be licensed anywhere. You've got this fragmented 263 local authorities outside London, all with different rules, all with different standards, all with different service levels, all with different costs that are widely variating. And some of them, we originally got into this because members were saying they were waiting 10 months to get vehicles looked at, a year to get a driver's license. The industry can't survive because people need mortgages to pay, families to feed, and if they need a job, they can't be sort of told, come back next year. And it was that bad in many authorities. That's why when Wolverhampton came on and set the standard and raised the level of standards, but made the bar lower for getting licensed efficiently, that's why you need it. There's members of ours would have collapsed without having the ability to license outside their area. And of course, the industry operates nationally. We don't operate within a square mile. And we've got different types within the industry. We've got the chauffeurs that work all over the country. We had members working at the COP26 in Glasgow, and we have members working in the Olympics, right the way across the board. The same drivers working in different areas. All this, we should restrict them to a geographical area belongs to the dark ages. And one thing to set the record straight, the biggest moaners about cross-border, the taxi industry, and Hackneys can work anywhere in the UK with a pre-booked job. It's something that isn't out there, and they're saying, why should private hire do that when they're allowed to do it? So the record needs setting straight on that, and that's a new bit of messaging we're going to be getting out.
Part of that, we've discussed it before actually, the current DBS and medical requirements for drivers, are they fit for purpose and do they need reform? But would you explain to people who don't understand about the problem with the DBS?
Well, let's look at the DBS first. With Diana Lamplu in 1997, we went to meet a group that was going to be called the CBS, the prosecution, the original DBS people.
I remember that,
Crown
yeah.
prosecutions,
Yeah, and we went to see them and they said, oh yeah, we're going to have one standard, it'll be easy to do, it'll be easy to pay for, and it will be portable. Well, within a year they came in, the Criminal Record Bureau it was.
That was it,
yeah.
And none of it happened. Within a year you couldn't take your DBS. Some of our members have to have 40 DBSs done. That's a complete waste of time and money. Yeah. It's a complete waste of police time who have to check these records. And of course, the actual method of payment belongs to the dark ages because it's by credit card. So what's been happening is if you pay by credit card and your email address changes, people move, people get remarried, change their email address, or if your credit card expires, they won't send you the reminder email, and 7 years after you've gone on the update service, are you going to remember that your credit card's going to expire? And what happens is that leads to drivers becoming unlicensed. Now, in some authorities, they'll make the driver start from scratch, they'll revoke his previous license, and they'll make them do all the tests, all the stuff from scratch. That shouldn't happen. If they had a direct debit system for the payment, your ongoing renewal would never fall down the cracks.
Would you explain, the other workforce and the school badge, where the issue comes in with that? Because a lot of drivers and operators are struggling with that, 'cause you're paying twice in effect for the same thing.
Well, that's another nonsense because there's something called a regulated activity. Now, if you do a school run for 3 days, you're under something called a regulated activity. If you do taking kids around outside of a school run, as a minicab driver, all month is not regulated activity.
And it can be the same child.
And it can be the same children travelling in the same vehicle with the same driver. But unbelievably, the council DBS is different from the licensing DBS. We're trying to standardise it because you need one DBS. The other thing is one's designed for children, one's designed for adults. And of course, what happens to children? They grow up. So during the duration of their DBS, they move into adult barring. They should have one barring system. If there's nonsense out there that shouldn't be working, they shouldn't be working with kids or adults. No. We don't want them in the trade. So that's desperately needing sorting out, the DBS. On medicals, again, you've got a nightmare, the way the medicals are constructed, because every authority has its own medical form. And authority to authority, there's no standardisation. You have different start points. Some start at 21, some start at 35, some start at 50. Some of them are 3-year duration, some of them are 5-year duration, some of them are required on your birthday, some of them are on the anniversary of the licensing. And just to make things worse, when you get older and probably need more medical records checking, and I'm a sort of evidence of that because I've had poor health recently, as you get older your health isn't as good as when you're young and fit. You do need more frequent ones, and they can't even agree on whether it's 65, 60, 70, and then they can't agree
PSV.
whether it should be annually, biannually. It's a nonsense.
Your PSV and your HGV have set times, and as you said, with national standards, that should come across the board to taxis as well.
Well, the good news is I went round Wales last year, and they had a white paper on new regulations, and we were able to convince them to have a national form for Wales, which they've now got out. So the form in Wales for your medical is the same in all 32 licensing authorities. The other thing they've done is they've published the duration, the time you need, and it's consistent right across Wales. So you could be on this side of the road here and it will start at 21 and you'll need one every 5 years. You'll be on the other side of the road, it will start at 45, be every 3 years. And of course the price is different. It's a nightmare. We need to deal with that. And of course all these things lead to failure points in getting licensed. And if you stop drivers getting licensed, the industry starved of license and the supply and demand goes out, and that encourages illegal activity. So these are two very important things at DBS that we're working on, and the medicals.
Okay, thanks, Steve. We're going to have a break now, so over to this.
Jodie's top tips.
Position yourself for the high value jobs. Know when the busy trains are pulling into the stations. Know when the flights are landing into the airports. And make sure you're at the right place at the right times to make sure that you can maximise your earnings. So some authorities want to mandate CCTV in vehicles. Why do you believe it should not necessarily be compulsory?
Well, there's a clue in what we do. Private hire vehicles. They're private, they're not publicly hire. We don't get to use the bus lanes and all the privileges that come with privacy. So why should we, in private hire vehicles, be mandated to have something that we don't necessarily need? If you ask drivers if they'd like CCTV, they say yes, providing somebody else pays for it. That's usually the stock answer. But most of them wouldn't want to pay for it. You've also got clients that don't want it. I used to have the England football team on account, and I can assure you they wouldn't want to be videoed.
I wonder why.
I dread to think why.
And there is privacy. It's a privately hired vehicle. We respect the fact the association's position on it is if a driver wants to have CCTV, it should be a regulated CCTV that meets, and it should be controlled by the licensing authority, but it is a personal choice. The mandating of it is just not for us. And we surveyed on it, we surveyed passengers, we surveyed the public. If you ask the public if they'd like a policeman under every lamppost, they would, of course. If you then tell them it's going to cost them a lot more money to have the policeman there, they'll then say, oh, well, perhaps not. Same with, it will put prices up. Wherever CCTV is mandated, A, it makes it very difficult to get drivers, and B, it's very expensive. You've got to remember, people say it's only 500 quid to put it in. When you change your car, you've got to take it out, then you've got to put it in the new car, and so on and so forth. There's no evidence that it prevents anything, CCTV. The fact you see all the criminals committing the crime on CCTV just shows you that it doesn't stop much.
You very rarely can tell what they look like.
Well, I was going to say as well, so, you know, even if you had a pretend one, that if you could. Yeah, it just.
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. Many years ago, we had a CCTV sticker in our office. We never actually had the camera, we just had the sticker, and it was about a foot wide, and it said CCTV. And we had a customer, been on the magic mushrooms and the too many drinks, come in the office.
Usual Friday.
And he came in and started abusing one of the girls. So I went out and said, what's your problem, mate? And he said, I want a cab. So we said, we haven't got any for half an hour. We'll give you another number. So he got, with this big CCTV sign in front of him, he got the other number, and they said, we're busy too, we haven't got any cabs. So he then went on a rant. He walked outside the front door, got his mobile phone and threw it at our 12-foot plate glass window, which fortunately had safety cling film on it. And there was a 12-car police car sitting outside, and he was arrested. So the CCTV did nothing. Wouldn't have made an ounce of difference.
No.
I think it's even probably worse now, isn't it? You know.
But if drivers want it and they're prepared to pay for it,
it
needs to be regulated. It needs to be their choice. But there's no need to be. No one in the chauffeur industry wants it. No one in special needs wants it. A lot of parents don't want their kids videoed,
of course,
etc., etc. But you've got people selling it out there that come and try and advocate it. But my view, if I did 500,000 miles as a driver, I would not have CCTV in by choice.
So that on private hire fares has become a massive topic since the Uber court case. How big of a challenge is that for operators?
Well, there was a lot of misinformation about this out there. The keyboard warriors got on the internet and said all sorts of things that weren't quite true. We're meeting with the Treasury to discuss the implication of the fact it's alleged that London operators should charge VAT. They shouldn't. Taxis don't charge VAT. We are a group of people that provide a service late night. We're the only form of late night 24/7 door-to-door transport. We get the buses, the trains, the workers, the nurses. During COVID, we had the third biggest death rate in our industry of people, and we shouldn't be taxed because of it. Operators pay tax, and those that have been avoiding tax, I believe some of the big app companies have had some very big run-ins with the revenue. They've tried to avoid it. That's right that the revenue have come down on there, but the rest of the industry shouldn't get caught up in it. and we will challenge it in the courts if they start prosecuting London operators and drivers. London drivers shouldn't be tax collectors for the VAT man. The rules on VAT are quite simple. If you're below the threshold, you don't have to register, or you can register voluntarily. There aren't a lot of minicab drivers in London earning 90k at the moment.
Thanks, Steve. That's been great. Now over to this.
Don't give me no lip. Say what you think, but don't give me no lip.
Quiet ride or chatty driver?
Ooh, bit of a chatty driver.
A nice ride.
What's a nice ride? Is that quiet or is it having a chat?
Quiet ride. I'm going to have to say, you have to be a chatty driver, honestly. What's the point in getting in a car, in a taxi, in a ride, if you're boring?
Do you say thank you once, twice, or just keep repeating it until you close the door?
Nah, just once, and then I'm gone.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked at that. I'm one of those people that I wait until the door's closed and I'm across the street. Thank you.
Nah, just the once, just the once.
I'm definitely a repeater sayer.
Yeah.
Like, even when I get inside, I'm like, you know, saying thank you on the app, like giving them 5
I think I say, cheers mate, nice one, and then shut the door. Keep it short and brief, get out of there.
Do you watch the map or trust the driver?
Not going to lie, I have to do both. I can't trust the driver, and I have to watch the map. I need to know, first of all, what traffic's saying on the route, and then I have to think to myself, does this guy actually know where he's going? And I've got to kind of, you know, take this left here, go up this road here, just, you know, save myself a few 5-10 minutes on my journey, because I want to take your money. Just me. I watch the map.
I don't trust the driver. I'm always watching the map. I don't.
Always.
I don't
Always on
trust them.
alert.
I don't know where they're taking me. They could be taking
you
me
where you put
anywhere.
the destination. Music on or off in the car?
Has to be on. Always have to have music on in the car. You can't have a journey without it.
Do you prefer it loud?
To be fair, it depends really. It kind of depends on where you are and what sort of mood you're in. Sometimes you want background noise. Sometimes you really want to vibe with the music. Got to turn it off. Got to. Windows down.
What's more awkward, silence or forced conversation?
Forced conversation, definitely. And to be fair, silence can be as well, because when you're sitting there in silence, after 5 minutes, it always comes into your head. Had a busy day, mate.
There's always the phrase.
I think silence. Yeah, I'd rather talk.
Do you watch the road or do you just sit there scrolling on your phone?
Watch the road.
Do you not trust the drivers?
No.
You want to make sure you get in there right.
Probably a mixture of both. Like, maybe check the phone, keep an eye on the road, make sure I'm not being kidnapped. Like, you got to know where you're going.
So you've described some emissions targets as emissions impossible.
Yeah, one
What
I've
do you
never
think-
come up with that.
It's quite good, clever. What do you think governments are getting wrong with net zero policies for the industry?
Well, we also christen it nut zero as well. It's emissions impossible. There are 2.7 million cars in London. There are 30,000 charging points. You don't have to be Einstein to work it out, do you? You don't have to be Einstein to work it out that electricity at the chargers is dearer than diesel. And 90% of the private hire drivers in London don't have the ability to charge out at their home. So unless you can charge at home and you've got a very expensive vehicle that has got a very high ability to charge, it's just impossible to do it. And because the London taxi trade is saying it's electric, but actually it's charging that electricity from petrol. So it's a big misnomer that you have to be electric because the taxi trade in London is. It isn't. It's got a vehicle that charges from petrol, and it's got electric capability. The other interesting thing is they scream about wheelchair accessible vehicles, not enough in private hire. The number has gone through the floor, and it's quite simple. TfL only licensed one electric capable wheelchair accessible vehicle out of the 120 odd vehicles that you can license as a PHV. Therefore, it's very difficult to put anchorage points and batteries in an EV and still have any kind of a mileage distance, because
The weight.
the body
Yeah,
weight and the
yeah.
chassis weight and what have you.
And the mounting points into the batteries.
Yeah, the mounting points and all the things you need, the heavy build and the range. So the number of private hire vehicles in London that have got wheelchair accessibility capability has gone through the floor. And it's the emissions policy that's causing it. because there are several vehicles that could be wheelchair accessible vehicles, but they don't meet the particulates. So what that means is, unfortunately, the number of private hire vehicles that can be pre-booked is diminishing.
I think you also discussed yesterday with me, actually, when we met, about the wheelchair accessible side of things, the actual cost to the driver versus the reward that you argued against originally.
Yes, well, the Disability Discrimination Act did something very bizarre, which is, I'm surprised nobody's actually questioned the legality of it. They said that if you're loading and unloading a wheelchair or a disabled person, you can't be paid. You've got to turn your meter off. Well, if you turn around to somebody working in the factory, say, you know, if you've got a disabled person coming in the building, you've got to dock your wages for 10 minutes, they'd laugh at you, wouldn't they? So if you did wheelchair accessible work all day long, let's say you did 15 minutes of loading and unloading a wheelchair, you wouldn't be paid for it. You'd be working for 2 hours a day. At the end of the day, a minicab driver or taxi driver is actually working to earn a living. So when they mandated that you can't have your meter on if you're a taxi, or you can't be paid, if you're taking a box or a parcel, you get paid loading and unloading time. If you're taking a human being that desperately needs the service, you can't charge them for it. That seems bizarre. And it's had the adverse effect of making the number of wheelchair accessible vehicles, or people that want to make the outlay for what is already a very much more expensive vehicle, then add, well, 15 minutes in every hour you're going to be working, you won't get paid for. What's going to happen? Nobody's going to do it.
No.
Thanks, Steve. Now we're going to go over to this.
Ask the expert with Gary and Chris. Find out all the things you didn't know on Ask the Expert.
So here's a tricky one for you.
Well, I'm up for a tricky one.
Always, I hear.
Absolutely.
What are the most common mistakes that drivers make when they first become self-employed?
That is a great question. There's a few tales and stories that I hear from people. My favourite one is that you don't have to pay tax in your first year. So the truth is, when you register for tax, the tax year runs April to April. So you register for tax and then do your first year. And obviously, if it's not in April when you start, you can either do a short year or you can extend it. So if you do from year to year, and then you've got until January the 21st, which is 9-10 months, something like that, to do a tax return and put it in. So people have this idea that you don't pay tax in the first year. You do, you just don't pay it until 9 months after, 10 months after you actually start. A lot of people always talk about claiming expenses without really understanding what that means. And I think I already explained in another question, when people talk about what do I claim for, you don't get the money back. You take away everything you've earned with your business to everything you spent on your business, and that's how we know how much tax you pay, in the simplest term, what's left over. So I suppose those are the two questions that people really come to us is, do I get for a year? The answer is no. You have to pay tax on everything you earn. You don't need to start paying tax until you've earned over £1,000. But the advice that we give everybody is that if you know you're going to earn money, get registered as quick as possible. And the other thing is not really understanding what expenses are or claiming it is. You really need to speak to an accountant about that. But what you're claiming for is taken away from what you're earning.
Oh my, right, wow, that's good info, Gary. Thanks very much for that. Don't forget to like and share, guys.
So how seriously should the private hire industry take the development of autonomous vehicles?
Well, last week I went through the 79 pages of specification requires for autonomous vehicles. It's interesting, the autonomous vehicles, because I queried, if your sat-nav won't work properly in London, how will the positioning for the vehicles work? And I sort of looked it up, and it's a bit of a grey area, because you can be in London on your sat-nav and going down a road that you're not on. I'm wondering how the autonomous vehicle is going to cope with that. But when I went through this 80 pages of specification, I was absolutely flabbergasted at what you have to do to run an autonomous vehicle. You have to have all the kit and caboodle license, all the tech license, all the data protection license. Then you have to have somebody off street that can control that vehicle and be licensed to do it and have a driving license to control it in the event of a breakdown or it malfunctioning. Then you've got to say, where do these things go at night? Because drivers tend to take their vehicles home with them. What are they going to be doing? Cruising around looking for something? And there's loads of other things. we made the point of who helps the disabled person in and out of the car.
Yeah.
If the car gets soiled, who cleans it up? Where do the batteries get charged? There's so many unanswered questions that whilst it's a threat, the cost of doing it and actually managing an autonomous vehicle is going to be staggering. Whilst they say they save the driver's wages, and will the public want, you know, nice take me type service where the driver comes and opens the door and helps you with your shopping into the boot, or helps the young wife that's got the kiddie with the buggy and what have you and gets them in the child seat? How are you going to do that in an autonomous vehicle? There's lots of questions. Of course they are a threat because big money's paying for it. But I'm going to be very interested to see how it works, because I think it's up to the industry to step up and make it clear what you get in a proper pre-booked private hire vehicle from a proper pre-booked operator that's licensed, the difference in the service. And the industry's got to step up and get that personal service.
I think it's the human touch as well, though, isn't it?
I think it always has been in our trade.
You pick up an old person, the taxi driver might be the only person that old person has spoken to.
Well, you're not the same being an operator when you're picking up the phone.
So the car isn't going to speak to that
There's
person.
a contact.
There's always going to be an element of human.
And school children.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to be an interesting thing, but of course, where it's working in America, again, I've done a bit of research on this, it's tended to not work where there are lots of big tall buildings. And the road structure out there is completely different, wider and all the rest of it. So it might work in the big wide open spaces.
Or Milton Keynes.
Yeah, it would work there. It would work very well there, to be fair.
Anyone that's got plenty of roundabouts is
As long as you know
maybe
how
okay.
Okay, we're going to take a break now. Thanks, Steve.
Road to nowhere, take me there, where the wind sings through our hair. Don't ask why, don't ask where, we're the ghosts of everywhere.
Take me
to Birmingham.
So today we're in the second biggest city in the UK, Birmingham.
Take me have taxi offices all around the city.
And if you need a taxi anywhere, download our app or call one of our local offices.
That's the way, I like it, that's the way, Oh, come on, Rudy, let's just go in for 2 minutes.
Yeah, go on then.
This is making my eyes water now.
Let's go in.
I don't know, I reckon I might win.
No, I'm going to win this one. Go on! Get out of the way! I'm beating you!
Come on!
Yeah!
I'm 7th!
Come on! Right, been at Star City, so now we're going to head to Aston Villa to watch a football match.
Let's go for it.
Right, you know what? I'm gonna go watch Birmingham now.
Okay.
Tell me why you have to hide away from someone you belong. The sky, please tell us why you have to hide away from someone you belong. Guitar solos.
Now this is more my colour. Shall we go and watch a game?
Yeah, go on, let's see you get your ass kicked.
Well, we did win.
I know.
unlike
goal,
Villa.
Lucky goal, lucky goal.
Right, let's go to the next place then, shall we?
Yep, let's go. Me mates near Star City have a right laugh.
I'm off the ball. Oh my god. I'm off the boring. Get me something for the weekend.
Rugby fans, Moseley, where is it at? So, what do you want to do now?
Shall we go get some food?
Good idea.
Let's go.
Good idea.
Right, let's go get some food. Shall we go for the spiciest wings possible?
Oh, I totally agree.
Yeah?
I'm
Let's
pretty
go.
good with my spices.
So we're going for the spiciest ones, yeah?
These are the spiciest ones.
Okay, they're hot. They're hot. Great.
That's not bad, that.
You can do it heat.
Not too bad on the heat, mate.
Nah. Yeah, they're hot. They're nice though. They are nice.
Yeah. I'm okay.
Well, I'm not well. Where's one of the best places in Birmingham for a night out, if you can think of one?
Probably depends on the age, but Broad Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say something. Say something.
No.
We'll come back in a minute. We'll think about it. We'll come back with a good question, with a good answer.
Okay. All right. Away.
For night out, in Newtown.
Sorry?
Newtown.
Newtown.
Wow. Oh my god. Not a clue.
Just think of somewhere that's very popular in every location.
I would say Revs, but Revs just got shut down, so.
Do you like football?
Yeah, I do.
Who's better, Villa or the Birmingham?
Villa. Oh, Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
100%.
Okay.
Obviously Villa.
I'd have to say Villa, just because my mate supports Villa.
Okay, that's fine. 2 more questions. Where's the best place to go to meet new people in Birmingham?
Probably around the uni. I know a few mates who go Birmingham Uni, so around there, student union is a good night out as well.
Or like, where's the best place to go to find to see people?
So it made me a bit biased, but I'll say Aston.
Okay. And then last question: what is the most Birmingham thing someone can do?
Someone can do. Go UKs.
Most Birmingham thing someone can do. Stop you in the middle of the street and ask you 5 questions.
Right, we're here in central Birmingham to try out Cafe Anno.
And we're going to try out their famous corn dogs with the best cheese pole.
Slow like that, so.
Make love to it, reader. Go on, give it a good look at it in tongue action.
Very nice.
Gobble it down, Andy, come on.
Right, go. Very good. Right, Andy, what do you reckon?
I'm going to give us an 8.
An 8? I'll give it an 8 as well.
Well, Reedy, that was a great day.
Yes, brilliant. Nice food, nice chats, and a great place to visit.
So, if you're anywhere in Birmingham, don't forget to download our Take Me app to book your next ride. So where are you going next? Where are we going next, Reedy?
What about Take Me Plymouth?
What about Take Me Wrexham?
Let's see where we go.
Okie doke.
There's often criticism of private hire from different quarters. How should the industry better defend itself against misinformation?
Well, I think it's up to the trade press, and I think the trade press are doing a bit more activity, and I think the groups that are working your podcasts, if you're giving information out that's helpful and useful and you're talking to drivers, talking to the public, you're building bridges and setting aside the misinformation that tends to go on some of the chat forums, which, to be honest with you, I don't know who does. Some of the people that say some of the things, they've obviously never, I don't even think, been in a cab, let alone talked about one.
I don't think some of the people are actually people either.
No. So I think the industry has got a challenge, but I think the things the industry are doing, the things like we're doing today, setting the record straight on things, good journalism, setting up your standards by having very professional awards nights and recognising people in the industry, having good standards of training, making sure that training's fit for purpose. That's another area that's I could talk about for a second. We went to a council about their training because we saw their wheelchair accessible vehicle that actually had the strapping for the wheelchair going through the spokes of the vehicle, which has got a great chance of killing the passenger.
Jesus, wow.
And the training company that used this video now use the video as how not to load a wheelchair.
Oh, God.
That's how bad the video was. And there's plenty of bad training out there and unnecessary training. Do you need to train somebody without a meter how to use a meter? Do you need to train a chauffeur how to change a tenner when they don't deal with cash? You need training to be fit for purpose.
Specific.
And I was on the Sector Skills Council for training and helped to develop training in the sector, got a National Training Award and Investors in People. So I know a bit about training. There's a lot of rubbish training out there. There's a lot of unnecessary training. Training needs to be fit for purpose. It needs to deal with safeguarding properly, but it doesn't need to deal with things that you're never going to deal with as in the whatever genre of private hire you're in.
Okay, thanks, Steve. We're going to have a break now, so over to this. So we're down here today at Transformation for Life in Wellingborough, and we're holding a driver welfare and wellness day. I'm here with James Wright, who is the owner of Transformation for Life. James, just tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing today with the drivers.
So we're going to start off today with the drivers about some basic awareness on stretching, because drivers' postures get very, very hindered, working 8, 12-hour days. Posture gets poor, so we're going to just teach them some basic everyday stretching that they can do for 5 minutes. It's going to stretch that posture out and help them in their day. Who's worn out? Good. Okay, now I just want you to roll your necks for me. Just lower side, back. That's your shoulder alignment. Okay. Yeah, okay. Turn your head very slowly left to right. See how restricted that is? Yeah, and other side. Okay. Now, healthy posture means if I put my hands behind here, my hand should be about 1.5 inches from his head. What would you say that is? 4 inches, 5 inches? Because what happens in your careers and your jobs, your trapezius is all overstretched. So when your trapezius is overstretched, the rest of your muscles are overstretched, which pulls your spine out of line. Then that causes tension, and we never stretch it back in, okay? So I'm gonna now show you some stretches you can do at home that's gonna help with that, okay? Make a big difference. It'll affect your quality of sleep, it'll affect headaches, it'll affect aches and pains, all right? This is one game changer for you. So we're gonna loosen your lower back right through to your neck for me, all right? So in this position here, you're gonna bring your shoulder blades up and bring your head down if I show you side on. So shoulder blades up, push through. And then as you bring your shoulder blades down, you're gonna bring your head up. Into this position, shoulder blades down. And then push the shoulder blades up, head down. Shoulder blades down, head up. And again, shoulder blades up, head down. Step back. Straight away, look, there's an improvement. Okay, turn your head left to right. Look at that.
I'm sweating.
Look at that. Left to right, more motion. If I put my hands behind here, what are we now, about 2 inches? Yeah. That was 1 minute, because we actually worked on the traps. The issue that drivers and shoulders have, particularly with shoulders, is when your traps are overstretched here, your shoulders move forward from the baller joint, then in their non-natural position. But we always focus on the shoulder being the issue, but actually it's the trapezius, the neck. So if we focus on bringing that back, that's what fixes the issue.
So those last few questions actually lead us really nicely onto this one. If you were looking ahead to the next 10 to 20 years, what do you think the private hire industry will look like then?
Well, I think there'll be more consolidation because that's been going on for a long while. I'm just surprised that the pace has been so slow. Obviously, your own group are consolidating and franchising. I think that will be the shape of the industry. You're either going to be in the ride-hailing brigade, or you're going to be probably part of better and bigger systems. It's going to be very difficult for smaller operators to work themselves because the things that are required to do rightly are getting more tougher. But if you're part of a franchise or a bigger entity, I think that's going to be the way to go. And probably, although I got to 100 cars, had I stayed smaller, I'd have been considering that nowadays. And I think that's what will happen. There will be further consolidation, there will be further bigger players, and they will compete with the app companies then, the ride hailers.
So last question then, to round things off. If you were starting again today as a young driver, would you actually still choose private hire? And what advice would you give yourself?
Well, the great advantage of private hire, I was an engineer, so I did night school for 2 nights a week. I had to clock in 40 hours a week, and I was very low paid. I looked at it as an opportunity that I could come and go as I want. I was virtually my own person, so I was able to go abroad for Sweden for 3 months and Italy for 3 months. It gave me the ability to manage my own time, but it also gave me the ability to work hard and earn money. And if you work hard and do the job properly, you'll get bigger tips, you'll get well looked after, and you'll be highly regarded by the company you work for. So there's an opportunity to be self-employed and to actually be part of something bigger. And if you want a bit of freedom, and if you want the opportunity to control your own destiny, go in. There's plenty of good companies out there to join.
Words. Very, very wise words.
From an extremely wise gentleman.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, now.
So, well, I must say, I've
thoroughly enjoyed that, Steve. It's been really educational as well.
So thank you ever so much for coming.
Thank you.
Finally got to meet you, which is brilliant for me. I'm going to go home very happy today.
Thanks, Jodie.
But thank you very much.
Thanks, Lisa.
And we'll be speaking again soon, Steve, as you're working on a campaign for us.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to have a few words.
So a round of applause for Steve, I think.
Thank you.
So that's it from us for today. Thank you very much again to Steve, and thank you to my co-presenter, Lisa. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch up with you soon.
Taxi Talk. Taxi Talk.